Tony, that was a wild final minute. Your thoughts on your team's comeback win, and particularly the play of Jaden, who didn't get back in the game until right at the end.
Right, yeah, and Pitt, they lost on a last-second tip against Minnesota. We had a last-second play against Iowa, and that I think Jaden used all of the rim on that shot. It's boing, 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 and I don't really know what to say. Grateful for the win. Guys fought. I mean, we're going to have to win a lot of games with our defense, and missed a couple blockouts at crucial times, and you're seeing some of the growing pains, but they hung in there enough, and they got it done, got some nice plays, out of some underneath, out of bounds, and we just got to keep finding ways. I thought there were times we had some shots that were there, then we passed up, and just keep working on it and trying to be as good as we can. But I'm happy for the guys, and again, they kept trying to stay in it. And actually, Cade made a nice tip at the very end against with 0.9 left. So ACC play, it's said you start. There's, like we always say, there's 3 parts of the season, and this is kind of the second season in a way. So it's good to have a home win. Again, the crowd certainly was alive and active. And is there something, if you miss 2 free throws, you get a reward? Oh, is that okay? What about when we miss 2 free throws? Do they get an award or not? Because there could be a lot of bacon going on out there, so it's a bacon frenzy. No, so I was wondering. They're going wild. I'm like, this is a little more. They were a little more excitable when that guy missed. So.
All right. So with Caden has seen some foul trouble in the past few games. What's the message to him to try and what do you want to see out of him, or what is he doing that you think is giving him the most issues getting these calls, especially early, that leads to him sitting?
Yeah. Not sure. I mean, he's got to, you're always, when you're trying to play physical, and he's still a little unstable, he's gotten stronger, and I mean, that was a strong man he was going against. There's no question. And I think Poppy did a good job battling him. When you play hard and you're active and as good of a shot blocker as Caden is, you always might pick up some just because of the physicality and how refs are calling it. You got to avoid the non-necessary or unnecessary ones. And I don't know if he really fouled that guy to get his 4th foul, but what I told him, I said, maybe you didn't, maybe you did, but you got beat off the dribble, which put you in that spot. And so it's just taken, there might be one questionable one, but don't pick up unforced errors. That's what, I'd say. And so I think at times he gets some unnecessary ones. But again, this is new to him, and he's learning and doing some good things. And, again, I had both of them on the floor at times, but we're going to need everyone.
Yeah, you guys have played 2 down-to-the-wire games in a row. You came up short against Iowa, 1 tonight. What do those experiences do for a team this early in the season, and what's the experience you can learn from?
I mean, the guys, we kept saying, you're going to have to win this with your defense. At halftime we said win it with your D, and they tightened up on that zone. I mean, they jammed the lane, and we got a few looks, and then obviously didn't shoot it particularly well and had some trouble. But to win one, I think, is important, and even how we did it at the end, and just, again, there's probably going to be a lot of games that it could be like that, and you got to be good enough to be in them, and the guys fought, and the crowd helped, and we know we'll go in on at James Madison. They're a very good team in a hostile environment, so we'll have to be ready and keep improving. This is all about the quote. Maybe I use it a lot, but that one about failing better. Ever tried, ever failed? No matter. Try again, fail better. Keep improving, and that's the tennis player Stan Wawrinka has that tattooed on his arm, and we talk about that a lot. We're showing some mistakes, as every team does. Can we just keep growing and learning from those and be better the next time? And and that's, I thought we started better than we did against Iowa, but it was I thought we were a little more ready, and that was they answered that challenge and had good stretches of basketball.
Tony, you were pretty critical of some of the guys in terms of not being locked in the first half against Iowa. Some guys you didn't play in the second half.
Right.
How did they respond in practice and tonight? Did you like kind of the rebound from that?
Yeah, no, I was just frustrated because I thought, and Iowa again was so good starting early, but we gave them too many. We were just not on the same page. Again, some things happened tonight, but it wasn't. We were ready, more ready for sure, and we practiced that way, and guys responded, and I challenged them. And as I said, we have strong young men character-wise, and they're they want to do well, and sometimes they got to let it snap and not worry about certain things out there. I think they're trying to sometimes be perfect out there, and you can't be. But absolutely, their approach, their prep for this was where it needed to be, and we'll keep trying to build on that.
Kihei, I think, had only 2 field goal attempts. He made both until late in the game. Do you need him to be a more willing shooter, particularly against the zone?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he had maybe 3 or 4 nice rhythm looks, and he he's pump faking and going in there. And so we'll look at the film, and we need that. We need him to take it at times, and he would pass it up. But he's been playing good basketball for us. He really has the last 3 games, and again, when teams are probably going to do that, condense that zone, you gotta knock down a few of them. Otherwise, it gets hard.
Coach, Tane's played a lot of small ball 4 this year. Today he played more sort of 2 or 3.
Right.
Is that lineup dependent or something you've seen from him? And what have you seen from him in terms of like versatility?
Yeah, he's got to be able to play the perimeter, and then sometimes a small ball 4 when there's a matchup out there, and just from our rotations, and because he is physical, and so I think he's probably, besides our Jaden and Caden and Poppy, he's probably our next most physical player. At times we're trying Cody there. I think Cody's a little better on the perimeter when he's out there. So Tane gives you that. Igor, he did some good things. He's still adjusting and learning, and so again, we can't give up a lot on the defensive end. We have to at times be as locked in as we can defensively, and because we can't always make it up on the offensive end. So Tane has to be able to do both, and I think he's getting more comfortable at that spot, and it's really just more of a defensive thing because we can do things that are the same on offense.
Tony, you've talked a lot about the newness and some of the new faces. You're a month in. How much confidence does this team have in Jaden Gardner in spots like he was in tonight?
Yeah, no, I think so. I told the guys before the game, Jaden, we need you to score. You have to score. Armand, look for your shot. I said we need you to look for your shot. Reese, Kihei, be aggressive. Caden, do the little things, get all over it. And I just want to keep trying to empower these guys to play beyond mistakes and assertive and aggressive. And I think there was good stretches of that. And then all of a sudden, you get in stretches in games, and then they tightened up the zone, and then you could just feel it change. And that's part of working our way through it. I've got to keep trying to figure out different things. Maybe if teams zone us, that give us different looks. We tried a few things, so we're growing and learning in that area, but we'll stretch ourselves. And again, I think it was important to, back to your original, Jaden, he's got to look to be assertive and score, and it was a heck of a finish.
How close was that last sequence to what you've been told of the last time?
Well, I told Jaden to miss and bounce it all over. It was perfect. I wanted the clock to go while it was bouncing, so they didn't have time. Which one? The out of bounds? The press? Yeah, no, I do. I think our guys executed. They execute it well with underneath out of bounds plays. When we had to get some stuff, they did a decent job. Got a big play on the offensive glass. They missed. We weren't great on the defensive end, but and then to get that steal and make the plays, I liked what I saw. And so again, I'm trying to find the right things to celebrate, and of course, my eye will be critical enough to say there's a lot of areas we can work on. But that's hard because you feel like, we're down 4 with how much time? I think it was 9 seconds, and then to go through it, and then they make those threes, and you feel it a little bit. And but I thought they hung in there, and I could see it in their eyes. They thought we got a chance. So, but it was good execution down the stretch for the most part.